Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Enough channel, or should I say now, coming to you live from Guangzhou in China. So I know I put a post out the other day basically saying that the Great Firewall of China had got me, but if this video is online, it means that I've won, essentially. So for those that aren't in the know, in China, a lot of the websites like Facebook, Google, and YouTube are all blocked by the Chinese officials. So essentially, not able to access anything. Even though my wife's Chinese, I don't understand any of it. I've learnt the tiniest bit to get by. But it did make it hard. I thought I had set up with VPN, but unfortunately China had outsmarted them. But I did end up finding a free one where I could slip through on my phone, and that got me far enough to, do a bit of Googling and find out how to get around it. So I think I'm set up. Basically, this video is just a test that I can, but I thought I might as well quickly go through it. I've skipped ahead a bit, but that's fine. But yeah, as I put in my post, a bit of a disaster week. I probably don't want to talk about it, but 966, so down 3,000 spots, let's say, outside the top 10K once again. No league wins. It says one trade available. I am going to do a trade. I know I said I wasn't going to do a trade, but if we go to the team, Jeremy Marshall-King being out for a good chunk of time has sort of forced my hand, particularly with Harry Grant not playing this week. I don't have a hooker, so I will trade Marshall-King, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Fanua Blake with the 45 was my VC. I didn't really have an opportunity to muck around with the loopholes anyway, which worked out okay, as you can see. Curran with the 59 was good. Bounced back from that howl last week against the Roosters, the previous week. I'm going back a bit now. Fino with the 39 is solid enough. Crichton with a 49 was good. Katoa 51. So you can see no massive scores. Nikro with the 79, I think, was just about my highest scorer in the team. If I scroll down, yeah, looking very much that way. So yeah, missed all the big sort of point scorers this week, unfortunately. Hence the low score. Porter with the 53 was decent enough on the bench, but misses this week now that Bateman's back, which is not ideal. Brown and Burton, 60s each. Sweet. Plath, 64. Sounds like he's going to be the one playing hooker for Marshall-King. So initially the plan was to just sort of wait and see if they bring in like a Donahue or something. But not to be, so we might have to look elsewhere. Lockie Galvin with a 59, so 60s from the halves is expected. Zach Lomax we traded in, but was a late out, so he's a keeper. That's not a stress. Asako with 54, Kiro's 52 against base sort of levels for them. Talangi with the 66. I did back him to score a try, so he did that, which was good. Outscoring Eero by 18, but obviously would have loved to have Eero in there if the Lomax news was a bit earlier in the week. Scotty Drinkwater with the 43, and Fletcher Sharp with the 61 was solid, but relegated to the bench with Callan Palmer back this week. So maybe a bit of a bust as a trade, but that's how this round basically went. I'll quickly run through the game days. As I said, good news for everyone else that I was playing this week. I might try to go back a week. No matchups. That's not true. So just a bit slow. It's good to know. So Guns N' Roses Shoab got me by a good chunk, 100. So Captain Dom Young, who turned up, that's hard to sort of replicate with my team of goers. But other than that, there wasn't a lot of high scores, to be fair, but just like Marshall-King hurt, not really having a standout captaincy option hurt. I'll just try and pick out the biggest score, maybe a couple of 1100s at the top. 1189 Canberra Milk, maybe. So who did they captain? Tedesco turned up against the Tigers. I don't even remember the result of that game, but I'm guessing the Roosters won pretty comfortably if they're both in the hundreds. So that makes it a bit tough. Second league, super quick. The Sydney Sombreros got me by 50 again. Well, Captain Crichton, so I actually had him for the captain, Joshua, this week. But Dom Young, I guess, was the difference maker. Liam Henry at 73. I heard he was good playing on the edge for um, the Panthers again. So Terrell May with the 73, solid. But yeah, some just solid contributions all around. Was good enough to get the job done. Mr. Callios with 12.54. So some monster scores in this second league. 12.95 for obviously Oblivious. So I reckon he's got a few roosters maybe. Tedesco, Dom Young. Reed Marnie with a 93. He's been awesome. Xavier Wilson getting a bit of meat. 77. Great hold there. Jerome Hughes has been good in the halves. Jack DeBell with 87 is good. So I guess, these are sort of obviously the players I don't have. So well done to you, David. And then the third league, the biggest defeat, 12.72. So might not have to find a higher score in this league, I don't think. Failing big is failing up in this round. Sam Hughes as your auto emergency helps with a 65. Nice one, Sammy. Xavier Willison on the bench. Captain Tedesco has Dom Young. So yeah, just really solid scores. Like Kai Pearce-Paul's a bit flat, but other than that, they're all essentially 50. 348s is close enough. So well done, Michael, for giving me an absolute caning. So I guess the plan for this week, as I said, I don't have a hooker. Marshall King's out for a while, so I'm going to trade Marshall King. And just looking at these top options, we're not really messing around with cheapies at this point. In the hooker position, I'm definitely looking for a cheap front rower next week to sort of downgrade, say, a Smithies and push one of my jewels back. But I think, just got to go with the numbers. And Reed Marnie is crushing it this season. Averaging 66. The defense is more short up. I think last year he was just down on points because the defense was so bad. But that's back. He's got those occasional attacking stats in him. It's only going to cost me 60k, so it's not the worst. Covers round 19. Obviously, round 20, I will be sweating a bit on Harry Grant. But we can always cross that bridge when we get to it. I may still be over here, so I don't know how close I'll be following it. I think this week is the busiest week on our itinerary, though. So that's sort of why it was harder to sort of get everything set up and going. But now it is. Happy days. So let's confirm that. So now we've got a starter. All right, let's get Big Pain back in the starting lineup. Let's get Fafita. So, if you look at our sort of finished team, for lack of a better terms, these two hookers are fine. These two are good. We're keeping these two just as the second row, front row cover. So, Curran or Fino will end up down here in Smithy spot. Didn't get as much money as we wanted out of Porter, but I mean, we've got 4 gun second rowers, so it's fine. Brown and Burton, the plan might still be to push them back. We do have Max Plath, who I am keen on keeping. He could actually sort of sit in the second row, so I might even just end up cutting one of these guys if we need to make some cash, and along with obviously Smithies, and use that to get the halfback sorted. Centre wing, obviously, if we bring Garrick in for a Zarko, take Tangi out. We still want Val Holmes after Origin, so we've got the money through Eero, Tangi, Gagai if need be to get there. And then just trying to find some cash to upgrade Sharp. Obviously, we wanted a bit more out of him, but Ponga's back early. Maybe if there's a bit of chat, Ponga might just sort of catapult straight into the Queensland team. So he might get a run next week, which would be nice. So we'll just hang on there. But I guess in terms of our team, we do need to get Plath off the field, get the sub off. Nikora obviously in. Burton, yes. Probably, yeah, Finer in his form. That's fair. Um, and then it's just depending on matchups. So Sharks against the Titans. So maybe Eero. Power against South. So I think we can play Talangi and Eero. Bulldogs against the Warriors at Accor Stadium. Yeah. So I think Curran will be unlucky to miss out this week, but someone's got to. And so then the obvious VC is Dylan Brown, but as I said, I'm probably not going to fiddle around with it too much. And saying that, I do have the VPN now, so I can get on if need be. It would be nice to have a gun, a fullback like a Tedesco. So maybe we just back Drinky in to do well up in North Queensland against the Sea Eagles. Lomax against the Roosters is a tricky one. Kiraz against the Warriors. Warriors looked good last week, I suppose. Um, yeah, no. Payne Haas against Penrith could be up for a big one. Reed Marnie with sort of a decent base, but no, we'll just stick with that, I think. Nice and simple. But I guess what we might do as well, just to quickly get it all out of the way. As I said, this is probably the busy week of my itinerary. Have some more time next week to go in depth. But we'll just run through the fantasy and Sportsdek stuff. So for fantasy, it was a 750, slight decrease overall. But all in all, not too bad given we didn't end up with Edwards or Grant. Had the cover, which was nice. So Fennell Blake as captain was another flop, so he's out of the contention now. Done. Isaiah as VC, come off the bench, so that's fine. Plath with 65 was quite good. 40s through here. Wishart with 56, he's been so good. Pretty sure Munster's not back yet, but we'll keep him this week. Probably flip him next week. I mean, what have we got in cash? 259. So I mean, we should be able to get Wishart to Hines next week, which is pretty insane when you think about it. Aitken with a 57 was good. Weeks playing fullback, so probably one that can go sooner rather than later. I think they have a buy around 19, so it'll be like the likes of Wishart. Weeks goes. Don't know who else after that. We'll look at it next week. On the bench, Wilson with 59, obviously getting the try. He's going to be really good cover for round 19 as well. And the rest you can see on the bench. Head to head, not too sure. I haven't actually checked it yet. So match up, go back a week. Back up a week. So Mamke Mania got me by 50. So who did they have? Nico Hines as captain, probably was 30 points up. Yep, sweet. Tedesco, yep, nice, good get. They're probably the two difference makers, let's be honest. Had Wishart as well, so I didn't even get that little edge. Excuse me. Any monster fixtures? It's hard to sort of tell. Can I see on here? Oh, here we go. Round 17. That's what I want. So 864 for Helen Kells, optometrist, back on top. Great to see Adam. Reed Marnie. Looks like, great call to bring him into SuperCoach. He's killing it in all formats. Max King was good too. Jerome Hughes with the 60s captain is nice. Definitely one that got away from me. Wishart as well is handy. Yeah, nice. So I think for fantasy, even though Master King is out, I'm not going to do any trades because I've got the 3 on buy plus Harry Grant. So I should be able to cover from within. Willison, Aiken, probably doesn't matter. Let's just go Eero because he's further down the list. And then swap for Feeder. Hopperwide is an interesting one. Back to the bench, even though it sounds like Tommy Tobo's in the centres. We're going to sort of try him there, but they've just moved Cooler back. So I think it's a bit like a Trey Fuller situation, is if they need to play him, he'll play fullback, but if they don't need him, then don't worry about it. um, so yeah, 383 is handy, but we might just leave it a week. I don't think his break even's too bad, so hopefully he goes okay off the bench. Although in saying that, we probably should be a little bit more aggressive, but like I said, I haven't really had much time to actually sit and think about it. I've just been trying to get connected to the Western world and going from there. I suppose I should put Fafita in the starting lineup. Let's just do this with current hand. Go that way. It doesn't really matter when you got 17 about the order. It's just nice to put them in the order. And then captain, vice captain. I think now these back starting, Captain Yo makes sense. VC, I mean, probably Edwards, even though it's the same game. Again, you can't loophole, so it doesn't matter. All right, so that's locked in. And just quickly, the Sportsdek. So 846 last week, so a little increase actually. So this one has been going all right out of the three, interestingly enough. But, I've got Terrell May, which helps in this one. Held on to Nico Hines, which was handy. Captain Tedesco, so, Tamari Martin with the 76 as well is nice. So just, different sort of strategy, and it's worked out all right. But with this one, we are going to be a bit aggressive because we've also got Hopgood, who's out longish term. And I really want to get Isaiah Yeo in. So if I trade Marshall King, which is the obvious choice to trade out for the second trade, I've also got a few more trades here, which is cool. The money that it leaves me, sort of precludes the likes of, again, Marnie's top. Reece Robson's decent with his average. Damien Cook's been in on a bit of form. But again, I can't afford those guys. So we are sort of scraping the bargain barrel. Could go someone like a Brayley, but he and Crossland pretty much share points and minutes. So what I'm thinking is we're just going to take the cash grab this week with Bronson Garlic. Maybe if like Donahue does get the 9, we'll just do the trade next week. If not, Garlic should make some good money this week, given he got 64 last week. I don't think there's anyone taking big minutes out of his spot there this week. Obviously, the buy next week, so we will trade, but we'll have 3 trades as well. So it'll be probably starting to cash out Weeks, maybe even cash out Martin, who's on the buy. He's absolutely carved up as a halfback, but I think we can let him go. Maybe even one of these guys can get squeezed out potentially. We've got 3 gun front rowers. Maybe Terrell May finally makes way, that sort of thing. But we do have a little bit of a kitty as well if we do this. So just going to bang those 2 trades in. Payne Haas is back. So, I'll swap Yo and Smithies. So who sits here? I guess what we'd probably do is just Garlic should do good, but we'll just go for security there. Back Coruscant into lift this week against the Storm. Leichhardt is a plus. I'll fiddle around with the formation, but that's essentially going to be the team. Except Aitken's out, so Euro or I think Euro against the Gold Coast rather than Manly up in North Queensland. So that looks pretty strong. Or do we maybe Galvin out against the Storm? Garlic in. Let's go with that. Alright, so I'll fiddle around with the players and stuff. But just in terms of game day, I don't think I've done this one for a while, so probably missed a bit, if I'm being honest. But just snuck past the Gundagai Tigers. Might just look at the league for this one. How are we going overall? Total, oh no, sorry, head to head. So Guns N' Roses 11-3. Sharp's killing it in this format as well. Field of Dreams, Hell's Granny. So I'm pretty sure these guys were high up in the overalls as well. A little bit of a slide maybe. Field of Dreams still in the top 100. But a few guys in the top 400 or so, which is nice. I've definitely improved. I was 5th or 6th at one stage, so on the up. But quite a long video, but as I said, I just wanted to get everything out of the way. And the ultimate test will be seeing if the connection's stable enough to upload this to the internet so that everyone can actually see it. So if you've got this far, it means that it's all worked well. So if you've got any comments or thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content. I know there hasn't been much the last couple of weeks, but as I said, I think the schedule's freeing up. The next couple of weeks while we're in China, not actually doing that much. So it's more just getting my wife some time with her family, which means I can slide off and hopefully get some fantasy sport content out for you guys. But otherwise, take care. I've forgotten how to say, I think it's just bye-bye in Cantonese. So bye-bye.